Welcome back to my channel. There are 20 million species of animals alive today, and every single one of them has had to overcome unique obstacles in order to get where they are today. Hi, I'm here to tell you why it sucks to be born as a pufferfish. Being born as a pufferfish is kind of like being born as a human in North Korea. Not only do you have a really bad hand you were dealt, but there's also a good chance you're going to end up dead because of it. And pufferfish can't even blame their environment for this. The thing that makes life so hard for them is actually them. Okay, so first off, what exactly is a pufferfish? Well, basically, pufferfish are fish. They're bony fish, which means that unlike sharks and rays, they have skeletons made out of bones instead of cartilage. And they belong to the group of fish called ray fin fishes, meaning that unlike sharks, they have fins supported by bony spines, instead of being entirely made of cartilage. There are about 300 different kinds of pufferfish around the world today, most of which are pretty small, only reaching lengths of about 30 centimeters. But puffers are a diverse bunch and come in all shapes and sizes. For example, the great puffer, which can grow to over a meter long, has no spines, while the dwarf puffers are covered in huge, sharp spines. Some are round, some are elongated, some even look kind of like weird little sea potatoes. And despite what some of their names suggest, not all pufferfish can puff themselves up into a ball. But probably the most famous thing about pufferfish is their ability to inflate themselves with water, air, or even digestive gases after being threatened. This defense mechanism is so effective that it's been exaggerated by humans in works of art throughout history, sometimes depicting them as inflated balls or even eggs. But in reality, it's usually more like inflating your stomach rather than your entire body, and it only works when the fish is dead. That's because in order for a pufferfish to blow itself up, it needs to sacrifice its own bodily functions by gulping air and water and then basically pooping out its guts. It can expand its stomach to multiple times its original size and become too big for predators to swallow. And if you think it would be cool to be able to inflate yourself like that, just consider what would happen to you if you got hit by a rogue wave while you out at sea, or get swept up in a current, or get tangled up in someone's fishing net. You see, when pufferfish deflate themselves, they lose their buoyancy and get swept along with the current until they find a nice spot to settle down. So if a giant wave sweeps you off your feet and you can't uninflate yourself, you're essentially screwed. But even on land, puffers aren't safe from human interference. Some people eat pufferfish, which is considered a delicacy in some places, even though you need special training to prepare them properly. That's because their insides contain tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin that's 1,200 times more deadly than cyanide and can kill you with just 10 milligrams. And since pufferfish don't have bones, processing them requires puncturing their insides, which spreads the toxin throughout their body and makes accidental poisonings a real risk for both the chef and the diner. Even if you somehow manage to survive eating pufferfish, it would be really hard to enjoy your meal because you'd constantly be worried about whether you'd end up paralyzed, go into cardiac arrest, and die. But pufferfish have other predators too, including eels, sea snakes, and large fish like groupers. And those guys don't really have to worry about accidentally poisoning themselves. And some animals even specifically hunt pufferfish. The short-nosed filefish, for example, is an ambush predator that waits until a pufferfish swims close by and then shoots itself forward with incredible speed in order to nom the unsuspecting pufferfish whole. And if that wasn't bad enough, even the smallest part of a pufferfish's life cycle is fraught with danger. You see, female puffers lay their eggs in clumps called spawn and then guard them fiercely. But a female can make hundreds of thousands of these eggs, which puts a lot of strain on her body. If she's unlucky, she might end up getting eaten before her eggs even hatch, at which point all that time and energy will have been wasted. But even if she doesn't get eaten, raising babies is still pretty tough. For one thing, the eggs need to stay moist at all times, or they'll dry out and die. And the mother has to keep a constant supply of oxygenated water flowing over them, which can tire her out. And if she gets tired, the male guarding the eggs has to take over, which poses a problem if he hasn't fully developed his parental instincts yet. Sometimes the male will decide that guarding eggs is unteased as fun as chasing after food, and will abandon the nest before the babies are ready to hatch. Other times, he won't realize that he is supposed to keep the eggs moist and the babies will dry out and die anyway. And even if he does everything right, there is still a chance a hungry predator will snatch the babies up before they have a chance to grow up. And there are so many things that can go wrong at this stage of their lives, because baby puffers are super fragile. Their delicate bodies are full of fluid, making them extremely vulnerable to changes in pressure. In addition, they can't regulate their own body temperature, meaning they have to live in water that's always within a few degrees of the air temperature. Basically, they're little aquatic toddlers that can't be left alone for a second. As if all that wasn't bad enough, baby puffers don't just have to deal with being squishy and defenseless. They also have to contend with the fact that they're kind of stupid. Most fish are pretty smart, especially when it comes to avoiding predators. But puffers seem to lack any kind of common sense. You've probably seen videos of puffers in aquariums trying to eat each other or being chased around by their tank mates. And it's not just because these puffers are evil or stupid. It's actually because their brains have evolved to leave the thinking to their other senses. See, when puffers are threatened, their eyes pop out of their sockets and flatten against their foreheads, which allows their lateral line system, which runs along the sides of their bodies, to take over. This allows them to perceive subtle movements in the water around them, like the ripples created by a predator's mouth as it opens, giving the puffer time to react. However, the trade-off is that when they use this system, they can't really see anything else, like the babies waiting to be fed or the friend that wants to play. But honestly, maybe we shouldn't feel too bad for the pufferfish. Being born as a human is a lot harder. We don't explode when we get scared. We can't inflate ourselves to protect our insides. And we certainly don't have to guard eggs for months at a time. So next time you're feeling sorry for yourself, remember, you could always be a pufferfish. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe. And thanks especially to our pandemonium of patrons for helping us make this happen.